There are a lot of lessons that can be learned from Greek history, spanning thousands of years. But in this video, I want to talk about a more recent lesson, specifically what happened with the Greek savings crisis, what happened with Greek banks that affected people who were dealing with them so much that it totally changed their perspective, and why it should change your perspective too. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. Now let me set the scene. Your country is in turmoil, the banks have problems, and you're restricted to taking 60 euros a day, 70 US dollars a day out of your account. You want more, you need more, that's too bad. Get in a line, queue up down the sidewalk, and wait to get your daily ration. That's a recent story. We've seen that in various countries around the world, some that have made the news, others haven't. Now, let me be clear. I've been in business since I was 19 years old, and that has made me a pragmatist. I'm not here to tell you doom and gloom. I'm not here to tell you that the world is falling apart. But I do think it's worth learning simple lessons from other people who have suffered the same fate. And having been to Greece on numerous occasions, I can tell you that people in Greece are very proud. They're proud of their culture, they're proud of their history, and that's great. Here's what happens with that is that when you have this pride for your country, you start to think that your country can't do anything wrong. You ever hear someone in the United States say that, thank God we live in America, the wealthiest and best country that ever existed in the history of mankind? Politicians say that, right? And a lot of people repeat it. I have even some friends who will say that. We have our problems, but it's still the best country that ever existed. As if anyone has a grasp of all the countries that ever existed, let alone all the countries that exist today. But that's what happens when we have a certain amount of national pride, is we think, hey, our government won't let that happen to us. These politicians, they're certainly savvy and efficient and intelligent enough to make sure nothing bad ever happens. But the problem that's happened, particularly in the West, is that politicians who are inexperienced, many of them have never run a business or ever had any money outside of politics, are making decisions about things that impact your money. In the case of Greece, in the case of Cyprus, it led to banking crises. And people said it can never happen here. What has happened? Some of those people in Greece have started to turn to things like cryptocurrencies because they feel it's the only way to protect themselves. But really, the key lesson to learn from this is that you have to be diversified. You have to internationalize. Because no longer in this world, where there are so many countries to choose from, can we rely on only the one country that we're from. I like to say, go where you're treated best. And what the people in Greece didn't realize, what the people in Cyprus or so many other countries didn't realize to their detriment, was there's somewhere that's better to bank than here. Now, no doubt politicians have been on a rampage in recent years, putting together restrictions. You've got to fill out this form, you've got to report your offshore accounts and disclose it and pay tax on the interest here and all sorts of other things, and that's fine. I may not agree with their intentions. It's the law, and people should follow the law, and I recommend that you do things legally, whether I agree with those laws or not. What I am saying is there is a legal way for you to diversify your money and to build a network of banks, a network of investments, a network of other things like residences and passports around the world, so that not only does your money have a place where it lives, outside of the system of your local politicians who are just telling you what they need to do to get elected, but you also have opportunities of other places that you can go. I feel like people don't learn enough from watching other countries fail. You go to, let's say, the United States, where I'm from. Oh, the Greeks, we should have seen it coming. And yeah, Greece probably shouldn't have been in the EU. Yes, you should have seen it coming. But you can also look objectively about the country where you're from and find some of the same cracks. And we like to, as human beings, take shots at everyone else. People like to come on YouTube and leave YouTube comments complaining about everyone else. But they don't want to examine themselves, and they don't want to examine their own country, and they don't want to say, what are the faults in my plan? which is why my default is diversification. You don't have to worry if you're diversified. If the Greeks had somewhere where they could go and they could get their money, they wouldn't have had to worry. Doesn't mean they have to totally abandon Greece. Doesn't mean they have to stop living there. Doesn't even mean they shouldn't have a Greek bank account or Greek property. It means they should have had other options they could have relied upon in a time of difficulty. These times of difficulty are like bankruptcy, as they say. It happens very slowly and then all at once. You never see it coming. I've seen this with various tax situations. I've seen it with banking situations where everyone said, Andrew, don't worry, I'll be okay. Had a guy who said, I'm willing to take this tiny risk on a potential tax issue that the law could change. He said, maybe it'll change in 20 years. I said, okay, fine. 9 months later, they're changing the law and he's scrambling to change everything that he's set up around because he thought it could never happen. The answer to it can never happen is to be diversified. If you're right, and it can never happen, all you have is some money sitting in a bank in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in whatever foreign country. All you have is a plan of diversification. If you're wrong, and it can happen here because history shows it can, then you'll be well protected. It's the classic offense and defense. I want everyone to really work on the government marketing because governments have some of the best marketing in the world. Even today, in a world where there are dozens of countries that are great wealth havens, great places to live, so many people are like, yeah, I want to go to Germany. I want to go to the US. Because that's what's been marketed to them for 50, 100, 200 years, that those are the places to go. Even though there are all kinds of new opportunities open now that did not exist 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago. People still have the programming. They're still listening to the marketing. And that's hurt a lot of people in the pocketbook. It's hurt a lot of people in many other ways. People who work for me in Serbia saw this firsthand. The Greeks saw it. People in Cyprus saw it. And perhaps, if you're not diversified, you could see it as well. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist. I wrote this book, which you can find on Amazon, to distill a lot of the stuff we talk about in these videos and a lot of the stuff I've learned over the last decade plus traveling all around the world, teaching you about how to legally reduce your taxes, build your personal freedom, and create wealth faster. Definitely get a copy of this book if you want to learn more. Now, if you want to watch more videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the notifications bell so you never miss one of our new videos with more tips on how to go where you're treated best. And if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you'd like to put these strategies in place for yourself, go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn about how I can help you.